The Bell Witch, when a curse found its voice. There are legends that refuse to die, stories that grip the human imagination with such force that they transcend generations, mutating from whispered warnings into something darker, something that feels too detailed to be entirely fabricated. The legend I want to share with you tonight is one of those. It's rooted in documented history. It involves real people, a real family, and events that were witnessed by dozens, perhaps hundreds of individuals who lived through them and swore to their authenticity. This is the story of the Bell Witch, and unlike most ghost stories, this one has never truly ended. Robertson County, Tennessee. The year is 1804. John Bell, a farmer from North Carolina, purchases 320 acres of land along the Red River near what would later become the town of Adams. He moves there with his wife Lucy and their children. The land is fertile. The community, though sparse, is tight-knit. The Bells are respected. John becomes an elder at the Red River Baptist Church. They are devout people. They work hard. They prosper. For 13 years, life unfolds as it should. Crops grow. Children are born. The family establishes itself as part of the fabric of frontier Tennessee. There is nothing unusual about them, nothing that would suggest they were about to become the center of one of the most extensively documented supernatural events in American history. But in the summer of 1817, something shifts. John Bell is walking through his cornfield one afternoon when he sees an animal sitting between the rows. He stops. The creature is strange. It has the body of a dog, but its head is wrong, elongated, rabbit-like. He stares at it, trying to make sense of what he's seeing. Then he raises his rifle and fires. The animal vanishes. Not running, not collapsing, it simply ceases to be there. He tells himself it was a trick of the light, the heat playing with his vision, but other family members begin reporting similar sightings. His son Drury sees an enormous bird perched on a fence post, far larger than any bird native to Tennessee. His daughter Betsy claims to have seen a young girl in a green dress swinging from a tree limb, though when she approached, no one was there. Then the sounds begin. At night, the Bell family hears knocking, not random thumps, but deliberate, rhythmic knocking on the exterior walls of their cabin. It moves from wall to wall, as if something is circling the house. They hear chains dragging across the floor, stones being dropped, the gnawing sound of something chewing on the bedposts. John Bell investigates repeatedly. There is never anything there. The phenomenon escalates. The entity, whatever it is, moves inside the house. Blankets are pulled from beds in the middle of the night. Invisible hands slap family members across the face. Young Betsy Bell becomes the primary target. She is pinched until bruises form. Her hair is pulled so violently that witnesses see it being yanked by unseen hands. She wakes with scratches on her skin that she did not inflict on herself. John Bell tries to keep the disturbances quiet. He is a prominent member of the community, a church elder, a man of standing. To admit that something inexplicable is happening in his home would invite ridicule, or worse, accusations of blasphemy. But the attacks become too severe to ignore. He confides in James Johnston, a neighbor and friend. Johnston visits the Bell home, along with his wife, to witness the phenomenon firsthand. That night, as they sleep in a guest room, the blankets are ripped from their bed. Johnston sits up, staring into the darkness, and later tells John Bell that he saw what can only be described as a spirit. He advises Bell to seek help, to let others know what is happening, because this is beyond anything a single family can handle alone. Word spreads. Neighbors begin visiting the Bell farm, curious, skeptical, hopeful that they might witness something that defies explanation. And the entity obliges. It begins to speak. At first, the voice is faint, a whisper, a rasping sound that seems to come from nowhere and everywhere at once, but over time it grows stronger, clearer. It becomes a distinct female voice, sharp and articulate. The voice sings hymns. It quotes scripture with perfect accuracy. It repeats sermons word for word, sermons delivered in churches miles away, sermons the Bell family could not have possibly known about in such detail. The voice identifies itself. It claims to be the spirit of Kate Batts, a neighbor with whom John Bell allegedly had a dispute over a land transaction. The historical record is murky on the specifics. There was, in fact, a real woman named Mary Catherine Batts who lived in the area. She was considered eccentric, odd, someone people avoided. There are mentions of a disagreement between her family and John Bell, though the details vary depending on the source. Some say it involved the sale of a slave. Others claim it was over property boundaries. What is documented is that Kate Batts outlived John Bell by many years, which complicates the narrative that she cursed him from beyond the grave. But the entity uses her name. It calls itself Kate, and it makes its intentions clear. It has come to kill John Bell. It has also come to prevent his daughter Betsy from marrying a young man named Joshua Gardner, though it never explains why. The torment is relentless. John Bell begins experiencing physical symptoms. His mouth swells. His tongue becomes paralyzed, making it difficult for him to speak or eat. His face twitches uncontrollably. He suffers spells where it feels as though a stick is lodged sideways in his throat. Doctors examine him. They find no medical explanation. The entity mocks him during these episodes. It calls him Old Jack with venom in its voice. It tells him he will not recover. It promises his death. Betsy's suffering is different, but no less severe. The entity focuses its rage on Betsy whenever she is near Joshua Gardner. She is slapped, scratched, and tormented until she can barely function. Her engagement becomes a source of dread rather than joy. Eventually, under the crushing weight of the attacks, she breaks off the engagement. Joshua Gardner leaves. The assaults on Betsy lessen, though they do not entirely.
By 1819, the Bell Witch has become famous. Hundreds of people visit the farm, hoping to witness the phenomenon. Among them, allegedly, is General Andrew Jackson. The story goes that Jackson, who owned property near Red River and whose soldiers included 3 of John Bell's sons, traveled to the Bell farm with a group of men. Their wagon, loaded with supplies, became inexplicably stuck on the road. Despite the efforts of multiple men and horses, it would not move. Jackson, frustrated, reportedly said, "By the eternal, boys, this must be the witch." A metallic voice responded from the bushes, "All right, General, let the wagon move on. I will see you again tonight." That evening, according to accounts passed down through the years, one of Jackson's men, a self-proclaimed witch hunter, boasted that he could defeat the entity. The voice arrived and taunted him. His gun, loaded with a silver bullet, would not fire. The man was then physically assaulted by an unseen force, dragged out of the house by his nose, and sent fleeing into the night. Jackson, amused at first, later declared he would rather face the British Army again than spend another night with the Bell Witch. The next morning, his men insisted on leaving. Historians debate whether Andrew Jackson truly visited the Bell farm. His movements during this period are well documented, and there is no mention of such a trip in his personal writings or official records. Skeptics argue that the story was added later, embellished to give the legend more weight, but the tale persists, repeated by descendants of those who claimed to have been there. What is not in dispute is that John Bell died on December 20th, 1820. He had been bedridden for days, his condition deteriorating rapidly. On the morning of his death, his son, John Jr., went to retrieve his father's medicine from the cupboard. Instead of the usual 3 vials, he found only 1. It contained a dark, smoky liquid that no one recognized. The voice of the witch filled the room. It claimed to have poisoned John Bell, to have given him a dose of the mysterious substance while he slept. The vial was thrown into the fireplace. Witnesses reported that it erupted into a bright blue flame. A modern chemistry professor from Austin Peay State University has suggested that the blue flame is consistent with arsenic combustion. Arsenic was readily available on the frontier, used to kill pests. If John Bell was indeed poisoned, arsenic would be the most likely culprit. Whether the entity administered it, or whether someone in the household did so under the psychological strain of the haunting, is a question that will never be answered with certainty. John Bell's death is the only recorded instance in American history where a fatality has been officially attributed to a supernatural cause. Tennessee recognized it as such. The Bell Witch, the records state, killed John Bell. After his death, the haunting diminished. The entity claimed it would leave, but promised to return. In 1828, it reappeared briefly at the home of John Bell Jr., engaging him in long conversations about the past, present, and future. It made prophecies. It claimed it would return again in 107 years, in 1935. Some locals reported strange occurrences that year, unexplained noises near the Bell farm and the cave that bears the witch's name, but nothing on the scale of the original haunting. The Bell Witch Cave, located a short distance from the original homestead, has become a focal point for those seeking evidence of lingering supernatural activity. It is a limestone cavern, over 1 million years old, listed on the National Historical Registry. Visitors report cold spots, disembodied voices, the sensation of being watched. Some claim to have captured unexplained phenomena on film. Others leave skeptical, attributing the experiences to suggestion and atmosphere. What makes the Bell Witch legend so enduring is not just the spectacle of the events themselves, but the sheer volume of documentation. This was not a single witness claiming to have seen a ghost. This was an entire community, over the course of years, experiencing something that none of them could rationally explain. Neighbors, church members, respected citizens, they all witnessed the voice. They all saw the physical attacks. They all heard the prophecies that came true. Skeptics have offered explanations. Some suggest that Betsy Bell, a young girl under immense stress, could have been the unconscious source of the poltergeist activity, a phenomenon known in parapsychology where adolescents experiencing trauma seem to trigger supernatural disturbances. Others point to the possibility of deliberate fraud, though sustaining such a hoax for years with so many witnesses seems implausible. There are theories involving undiagnosed epilepsy, mass hysteria, even ergot poisoning from contaminated grain. But none of these explanations fully account for the specific details. The voice, the accurate repetition of sermons delivered miles away, the physical manifestations witnessed by dozens of people simultaneously, the predictions of future events, the blue flame when the vial was thrown into the fire. The story was first published in comprehensive form in 1894, more than 70 years after the events, by Martin V. Ingram, a newspaper editor from Clarksville. He claimed his account was based on a manuscript written by Richard Williams Bell, John Bell's son, titled Our Family Trouble. However, the original manuscript has never been produced. Some scholars argue that Ingram fabricated or heavily embellished the story, adding dramatic elements and possibly creating the Andrew Jackson encounter entirely. Others believe the core events are real, even if the retelling has been shaped by time and traditional storytelling. What is not in dispute is that John Bell existed, the land exists, the community remembers, and the legend, whether rooted entirely in truth or built on a foundation of truth and expanded through folklore, has never faded. The Bell Witch is more than a ghost story. It is a mystery that resists easy answers. It is a testament to how much we still do not understand about the world we inhabit. It is a reminder that sometimes the darkness speaks back. If this story has unsettled you, if it has made you question the boundaries between the explainable and the inexplicable, then it has done what it was meant to do. The Bell Witch is not just a tale from the past, it is a living legend, one that continues to draw people to Adams, Tennessee, to stand on that land and wonder what really happened there in the early years of the 19th century. when a family was tormented by something that history has never been able to fully explain. Thank you for listening. If you found this exploration of one of America's most famous supernatural legends compelling, I would appreciate it if you took a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. There are more stories waiting in the shadows, more mysteries that deserve to be told with the care and respect they require. I will be here, guiding you through them, one dark tale at a time. Until next time, remember that some legends endure because they carry within them a truth we are not yet ready to understand.